Hello, and here's your video for Module 6, which is our biggest module. So completed by now should be Module 4 from the 15th, and Module 5 we finish on the 29th. So Module 6 has 4 parts to it, and the biggest kind of assignment, which is writing a lesson plan. So let's take a closer look at it. It has to do with professional knowledge, and maybe that's why it's so long as well. I do apologize for that, but all the other modules after this are much shorter. Alright, so Part 1 is titled, What is the Course About? It's usually, or we title these from the point of view of the student, but as well as what do you have to think about as the teacher. So the first thing that you normally do when you get a course code assigned to you is that you have to create a course outline, or another word might be syllabus from our university days. So this is something you have to create, and you have to hand into the principal of the school that usually gives it an okay or not okay, and then something you photocopy and you give to the students on the very first day. Sounds like it's a really big, huge undertaking, but once you get into it, it really helps you map out your whole course. So ideally, I'd like you to work on the course code you have chosen to do for your whole unit plan at the end of this course. If something happens and you decide to change, that's still fine. It's still early enough. But ideally, something about, okay, I'm going to think about this whole course from beginning to end. The biggest piece to think about there was planning what you're going to do for the weighting for the knowledge, thinking, communication, application, the achievement chart. Are you going to keep those even? Are you going to change them? If you do change them, then that means you have to stay true to that throughout the whole course. Every rubric, every evaluation you do, the weighting is therefore changed. So think that one through. Look at different course outlines, find them. If you Google search the course code that you have, you'll probably find some course outlines. Think hard that the course codes have changed a lot with the new curriculum document, so you might have to look up the old course code to find something to kind of work from. But it's an interesting process to go through that and decide what's going to be 70%, what's going to be 30% in that division. Also, an opportunity to look at learning goals, success criteria. I put some resources there from EduGains. If you're having a hard time seeing those, there was something that was added to the course afterwards. So you might need to delete your cache and see other emails I've put in there about that. But I am looking for the thought process through learning goals, success criteria, especially when it's going to come to your lesson plan and unit plan that you are creating. Okay. Part 2, how am I being marked? So this is usually what the students ask for. So this has to do with what are going to be your culminating, or another word might be summative assignments. So at the end of each unit, there is usually one big assignment in high school, along with at the end of the whole course, there is also another big assignment. So the one at the end of the whole course is usually paired with the exam, and that makes up 30% of the course. And here on the outline, you can decide as well, are you going to divide that in half, 15% each, 10, 20, 5% for one and 25 for the other. You can justify it depending on the course code, what's going on with it. You know, cooking has practicum things and a written and something else maybe. But how are you dividing that, and think of student success and what would be the best for the level course? Do you have a U course? Do you have an open course? Then all the other work that is done throughout the course makes up the 70% of course. So those are at the end of each unit, whatever big assignment. Within a unit, there's usually that one big assignment and maybe something else in there. Maybe you're going to do another quiz or unit test, or there's some kind of differentiation there. There's usually 2 big things, or one thing's worth 5%, another worth 10. All of them together make up the 70%, that kind of thing. What I'm looking for is some scaffolding that's happening. So for example, the HSB course or the HPC course, those are the most traditional, the social psych, anthro kind of courses. They usually have at the end of the course that makes up the 30% is the students create a social science experiment of their own. All right, and then they dissect that through the lens of psych, social, or anthro. So something they have to do in order to create a social science experiment is they have to learn how to collect data and how to analyze data. That would be something you would do in an individual unit and make it part of that 70%. So somewhere else throughout the course, you've taught them how to do a survey or take observation notes and how to graph stuff and make notes off of data, so that they have that ability in order to be successful in the other piece that's worth the 30% later on. All right, so think about whatever you're making for the culminating. How does that contribute to the knowledge they need in order to be successful for the end course result, the one that's worth 30%? All right. Part 3, what are we learning today? Every day students come into your room and ask you this question over and over again, and I always like giving them sarcastic responses or something really off the wall like, I'll just randomly decide to start teaching a whole other course code at this point. But really, honestly, what they're looking for is to know what the learning goal is, right? That's what we're trying to adopt in our new philosophy of teaching. Students come into your room every day wanting to know, what am I going to learn? What is my goal at the end of this period? So I'm looking for that. It involves reviewing the lesson plan template. Now, we just went over looking at different templates. I don't want you to do that again. I just want to make sure I'm clear here. I want you to actually find a lesson plan or an idea or something. This is the part where you're looking and digging and trying to find resources. Hopefully that has to do with your bigger unit at the end of this whole course. But find something that you like, or something at least you think you could adjust or adapt. And then post that and comment about it. Comment what you would change about it. Why did you pick it? Why did you love it? Why did you hate it? And it's probably, hopefully, something you're going to adapt and actually create your lesson plan about, which is assignment 7. Okay, so just be clear here, we're looking for sample lesson plans that you have found. The whole reinvent, we don't want you to reinvent the wheel and do everything from scratch, right? You find resources, you adapt them, you change them, you like that idea, and you spin it in a new way. That's what we're looking for, some samples in there. And always remember you're responding to one other person's discussion post as well. I know, this is such a long one. So part 4, the last part, is higher order thinking, right? How do we get them to be more inquiry, making their own questions? How do we provoke more questions out of them? How do we, step aside from saying that good job all the time and try and come up with more questions that we could ask them so they can think deeper about something? So there's some readings there, respond to them. What we're thinking about is the so what. What does this mean to them? So what? Why am I learning about this? How are you going to engage the students into some critical thinking into your lesson plan? How would you adapt some inquiry even into your lesson plan or unit plan altogether? So after you do those 4 parts, and that's just the discussion part, unfortunately, then there's actually the actual assignment where you write a lesson plan with using the template. I guess ideally the Nipissing University template, but by all means, if you use another template and you like it more, go for it. But what I am looking for is your actual planning in detail, because when you make your unit plan, I'm not going to be looking for a detailed, more like a daybook style I'm looking for in the unit plan. But this one, I do need one detailed one that shows me all your planning and all your steps. So in that case, please give me, I'd like to call it a good lesson plan. Don't give me the work period lesson plan where you're going to send them down to the library to do some research and that takes up the whole 60 minutes. I'm looking to see how you plan things down. How do you break it down? Where's your hook? Where's your application? Where's your higher order thinking questions for them? Where's the so what? Where's the DI? Where's the technology integration? How are you engaging them? Make it something exciting for me, okay? That would make it the lesson plan you would love if I was in the classroom to watch you teach it. That kind of idea. And ideally, this lesson plan, you will include it in your unit plan later on as well. So maybe it's the first lesson, maybe it's the last. Sometimes I have people randomly do one in the middle, but oftentimes this is your opportunity to give that to me, your very first unit, or the one that you're going to do to explain their bigger accommodating task. Okay, I think that's enough. It's a very big unit. Pace yourself. If you fall behind in it, don't worry. You will not have been the first. You will catch yourself back up because the other 2 units are much shorter, and actually the final module 9 or whatever, sorry, module unit, there's so many names for them, I know. It's just time set aside if you haven't skipped ahead already to look at that. There's no actual content in this. So there's just module 7 and 8 to go after this. So it seems really large. Trust me, you'll get through it. If you have any questions or concerns, email me anytime. Thanks.